This is the Holy Shekel Crypto Gematria Bible Code Scan for Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. And it's also Yom Hamishi, which means the 5th day of the week, the 9th day of Av, 5786. It's Tisha B'Av today. And it's a day of, it's a day on the Jewish calendar that commemorates and mourns the destruction of both temples in Jerusalem and other national calamities and sad things that happen on this day throughout history. And the Parshat of the week is Bet Hanan, and the Daf Yomi for today is Chullin, Tractate Chullin, page 84. And the Holy Shekel Crypto Gematria Bible Code Scan, the idea is to bring value to the crypto market through using the computing power of crypto that's based on the prices. The prices serve as, you could say, random number generators, and these numbers come up. And number one, I want to see if there's patterns to it, as it's done daily. And the technology, the value is in mining, so to speak, not like Bitcoin mining, but mining verses from the Bible, words, groups of words, phrases in the Bible, and over time, if a pattern can be detected, then that would be the idea. So what I've been doing so far, it's been very experimental. I've been doing different techniques. But generally, there's three different country currencies: US dollar, New Israeli shekel, and the euro. And there are 5 coins, and each coin is for one day of the week. So Bitcoin is for Monday, Ethereum is for Tuesday, Bitcoin Cash is Wednesday, Ethereum Classic is Thursday, and Litecoin is Friday. And so today is Thursday. So today the coin is Ethereum Classic. So the price for US for today, it was checked at in this case the time that it's checked is very important. If it's even 1 minute off, it can affect the whole Gematria, because in Gematria there is a rule that you can use the kollel. It means if it's one off, you can do it. I use that sometimes, but in this, it's exactly what it is. I don't do kollels. So it has to be exact price, and I can press get the price, and I click it again. 1 minute later, it's a different price already. So anyway, for 4:30 p.m. on July 23rd, 2026, Israel Standard Time, 4:30 p.m., Ethereum Classic price for USD, US dollars, is $6.95. For New Israeli Shekel, it was 21 shekels and 26 agorot. And for the euro, Ethereum Classic was $6.11. So it's all checked at 4:30 exactly on Tisha B'Av, which is very significant in itself. 4:30 is the numerical value of the word in Hebrew Geulah Shlema, which means complete redemption. And so it was a few minutes before 4:30. I didn't even think about doing it. I was doing something else, and I thought in my mind, I said, Let's check the price now. Every time, even as the time of life, as I'm going, it's no set time. It's usually in the afternoon, but it could be all different times. Those are also all fitting into the exactness of life, this thing. So today, so sometimes I get all three, and sometimes I get just one of them. So today, although there's other gematrias that I could use, like for example for euro, 611 equals Torah in Hebrew, and for USD 695, also it's a verse in Psalms that says that the angel of the Lord camps near those who fear him and he rescues them. And but those are two that I just know off the top of my head. However, excuse me for a second. I'm sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. So today for the Israeli shekel, the price is $21.26. Now it can be $21.26. You could write it as one number, $21.26. So I have in 2017 I developed a Gematria for the Torah, a Gematria program, just the verse and then its numerical value, and then you just type the number in, and any verse that has the value comes up. So what's very significant is this number 2126 is the exact numerical value of no less than 5 verses in the Bible. The exact numerical value 2126, and there's one that's a scrambled version of it. I don't do scrambled, which means it's 2621. But since it's related to them, I put it in because it's actually a verse that was only 2 verses before one of them. One of the phrases, the verse is 2126, and just two verses before it was 2621, the value of the whole verse. So I put that in. So I won't do them in order necessarily, but I'll just read them in Hebrew and English, and this is the price of the Israeli shekel, 2126. Okay. It's in Genesis 44, verse 9. Asher yimtzeh ito mi'avdecha, v'amet gam anachnu niel adoni lavadim. Whichever one of your servants with whom it is found shall die, and also we will be slaves to my master. So this is talking about the case of in Joseph and his brothers when they planted the cup in Benjamin's sack, and they caught them along the way, arrested them, and their brothers said, "We didn't steal anything, and whoever you find it with shall die." So they were saying that they didn't know that Benjamin had it; it was planted, but they said it, and that was it. Okay, that whole verse in Hebrew equals 2126. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Let's mark that we did that already. Okay, next. Let's go back. Let's rewind the history back a little bit. Okay. And I don't know why it's not appearing. Yeah, okay. Took a second. This verse is in Genesis chapter 11, verse 14 in the genealogy. And I think it's from Shem. But I'm not 100% sure. So Shelach is one of them in the... Yeah, I think it is because Aver is one of them. Yeah. So the verse in Genesis 11:14 says, "V'Shelach chai 30 shana v'yoled et Aver," and Shelach lived 30 years and begot Aver. This verse in Hebrew equals exactly 2621, which was the shekel price of Ethereum Classic today. Okay. So now we have that verse. I don't know if there's connection to these, but they have the same numbers. So let's continue. The next verse, we're going back and forth in history, like very choppy. So now we're going to the story of Joseph now, but not when Joseph was viceroy. We're going to when Joseph was being sold by his brothers. Okay, we're going now to Genesis chapter 37:29. It says, "Vayashav Ruvain el habor v'hinei ein Yosef babor v'yikra et begadav." And Reuben returned to the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, so he rent his garments. That's Genesis 37:29. This verse in Hebrew equals exactly 2126, the price of Ethereum Classic in shekels. Okay? I don't know if you're seeing any connections between these. I don't know if I am yet, but it may take some time. The next numerical value is going to be, now we're jumping way ahead. We're jumping way ahead to the book of Numbers. In the case of in Parshat Bamidbar, the first Parshat of the Torah, it had to do with redeeming the Levites and the firstborns, that whole episode, and so there was some extra firstborns that needed extra redemption. So that's the context, and the verse says, "Vayikach Moshe et kesef hapidyom me'et ha'odafim al piduyei haleviim." And that is, so Moses took the redemption money for those in excess of those redeemed by the Levites. That's in Numbers 3:49. And that verse in Hebrew equals exactly 21.26, the price of Ethereum Classic for July 23rd. Okay? And now for the fifth one of 21.26. And now we're going to go back a little bit into the book of Leviticus. Leviticus chapter 15:11. And this is talking about the purity laws. Okay? And talking about various bodily discharges. So I think it's with a zav. Zav is like a gonorrhea, I think, like discharge, and it's a very high level of impurity. It's almost there. It's like right there with the purity of a dead person. Maybe it's not as much, but it's right up there. Maybe the next level, but pretty close. Anyway, the verse says, "V'chol asher," and this is Leviticus 15:11. "V'chol asher yiga bo hazav yadav lo shataf b'mayim v'chibes pegadav v'rachatz b'mayim v'tamei ad ha'arev." And whomever the man with the discharge touches, without having rinsed his hands, shall immerse his garments and immerse himself in the waters, and he shall remain unclean until the evening. This verse in Hebrew equals exactly 21.26, the price of Ethereum Classic for today. Now, I included another verse, as I mentioned earlier, that is a scrambled version of these digits, because I might not have included it, but because it was connected to the other verse. Because we remember when we talked about in Genesis when Reuben sold, they put Joseph in the pit, and Reuben came and he realized he saw he wasn't there, and so he ripped his clothes. Now, just a couple of verses earlier, this verse equals the reverse of that, 26:21. Okay, we had 21:26. This following verse from Genesis 37:27. All right. I wrote it wrong there. Okay. Genesis 37:27 says, "Come, Hebrew. Lechu v'nimkerenu l'ishmaelim v'yadeinu al tibo ki achinu b'sarenu hu v'yishmeu echav." So he said, I think it's Judah said this, "Come, let us sell him," meaning Joseph, "let us sell Joseph to the Ishmaelites, but our hand shall not be upon him, for he is our brother, our flesh." And his brothers hearkened. Genesis 37:27. This verse in Hebrew equals 26:21, the exact opposite of 21:26, but I included it because it's in the same category as the other verse, which equaled 21:26. Same, it's just two verses away. This has been the Holy Shekel Crypto Gematria Bible Code Scan for Ethereum Classic for Thursday, July 23rd, 2026, and for the 9th day of Av of 5786, and Parshat and Chanan, and Daf Yomi Chullin 84.